It's so beautiful to be here with all of you women. And Chastity, I just want to take a moment and thank you so much for the work that you are doing and really honor you. I feel like I just want to take a second to recognize that I am in this beautiful land. The First Nations land of Tawasin is where I live. And I love it here. It's so beautiful. I feel very blessed. Yes, making space for your story. Isn't it true that we all have stories? We all have these crazy things that have happened in our lives, and we all have wounds that we are healing, and we all have, maybe places where we're reaching higher and deeper yearnings and dreams. So I'm going to take just the next few minutes and make some space for a piece of my story. So when I was very young, I loved writing. And I loved reading, and I spent hours and hours reading all my favorite books. They were the Anne of Green Gables series and the Narnia series and the Hobbit. And I spent hours and hours writing, weird stories and crazy stories and poetry. And I truly dreamed of becoming a famous novelist. So I think I've done everything else in my life besides be a writer. I've been an actress and a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor, and I found a beautiful nutrition company that I love to share about. And my very, very most important job, of course, has been being a mom to two crazy teenagers now. But 3 years ago, scrolling Facebook, and there is the amazing Christine Aram. Probably a lot of you know Christine. And she was posting about wanting to write her first collaborative book. And so that got my attention. Long story short, I, applied and was invited to be one of the 15 women to share in this first Woman of Worth book. And you guys, you women, it was a very vulnerable story. And I was terrified, honestly, a little bit terrified for it to come out into the world. And I'm just going to take a moment and presence because the story was healing, my parents' um, really painful divorce, and also healing my own wounds from sexual abuse that happened when I was 8. And this is a story that honestly I don't talk about still, even though it's in this book and people have read it. There's a small handful of my friends that I share this with. But I made a conscious choice to bring this into the light because we are light leaders. And also because, just statistically, I know that more than half of us on this call have been affected. And I do believe it's something that we need to continue to bring into the light. So what was so beautiful about sharing that and bringing that story out into the world is that I did have women reach out to me and say, Rebecca, your story helped me. Your story touched me. I'm ready to not be silent about my own story. And it made all of the terrifying moments totally worth it for me. So fast forward, I'm scrolling on Facebook. The beautiful Julie Salisbury, lots of you know her as the founder of Influence Publishing, and she is the woman who published this book. We had become friends, and she kept sharing about writing retreats. And I kept thinking, oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Go away for a weekend, do a writing retreat in Sydney across the water where she lives. And then she posted about a writing retreat in France. And I went, oh my God, I have to go to France. And honestly, I didn't bring it to my husband. I was nervous about it. But when I finally got the courage, he said to me, I think you should go. So that's all it took. I found the money. I got my butt to France. I had no idea what I was writing, but I had a brainstorm list of 11 different things. And I got there, and the story that really spoke to Julie and that spoke to the other women at that retreat was another story of healing. And it was me wanting to heal, to go to the next level in my own father-daughter story. So the reason it spoke to Julie is she had her own father-daughter story. She actually ended up becoming an author in that book. And 11 amazing women joined us. Actually, it was 8 women, 3 men. We all shared stories of father-daughter relationships. Have to give a really quick shout out to Rosalind, who is on the line tonight. Rosalind's going to share later, and she joined that book and she shared an amazing, deep, deep healing story of her father-daughter. And I'll always be grateful for you, Rosalind. Thank you for joining that book. And you know, this was what I got to experience next. I got to see these authors go through this transformation of bringing a piece of their story out into the world. And that was just so worth every blood, sweat, and tear that we went through putting that book together. So, you know, very soon it became apparent that this was not one book. This was a series because, you know, there are many relationships within families. So I didn't show you, but this was the first family tree book. And it's called Embracing Your Father-Daughter Roots for Forgiveness, Fulfillment, and Freedom. Next, we did the mother-daughter stories, the next family tree. Again, I don't know, there's a magic with 11. There was 11 beautiful women who came and shared about their mother-daughter stories. It was just beautiful. And we are now in our third book. So now we are sharing the mother-son stories. And again, I don't know how 11 women have joined. We're sharing from our hearts about, you know, the joys, the challenges of raising boys. And I just feel so blessed to be on this journey that who knew, you know, where it came, but the universe was listening. I believe that. And I just also want to share, you know, the reason I'm here tonight is because I have recently read Adara's beautiful, beautiful Free Spirit book, which is hilarious. If you haven't read it, it's hilarious. It's beautiful. And it's why I'm here because, you know, reading Adara's book, it connected me to her. And I found parallels in her life. And I found things that just, you know, made me feel close to her and it made me want to work with her. So, how I want to wrap this all up is that I want to say if you have one of those deep stories that's in your heart that you know you have to share, and you know what, it can be in a small way. Maybe there's a special friend that you just want to have a coffee date and you want to get that story out into the world. Or there's so many ways, you know, it could be writing, it could be through performance, it could be through dance, it could be through some beautiful piece of art that you create. You know, I know there's many entrepreneurs on this line, and probably many of you share your stories already in your business. And this is the way that we connect, right? This is the way that we want to work together. So my guidance is just do it. If you have a story that's in your heart, find a way, do it. If I can be of any service, I know Adara has many gifts. So many of the women on this line have so many gifts. You're doing your video stuff. And I'll just end that there truly is beauty, power, and magic in making space for your story. Thank you.